Alright, so I just recorded a really long video and come to find out the sound wasn't working. So let's try this again. The whole reason I started these videos was to um, just to share some of the things that God's been doing in my life, and especially one in particular, and that's the reason, sharing that with my girlfriends, uh, they told me that in sharing that, they told me that I should share this with other people, and I'm fixing my bra strap right now. So this could either be really real or I edit it. We'll see. This is really hard, by the way. I've never stared at myself for this long, and it's driving me a little crazy. I've never done a video like this before, so please excuse the nervousness. I'm not used to talking to myself. I wish I had somebody here I could talk to and share this with. I'll pretend. Um, okay, so the last, I guess this one was probably about, is going to be about how we get through the times of silence with the Lord. I've been a believer since I was 14, and there's been lots of challenges and good and bad, but I have never endured times of silence. And this year has been the first time that I experienced a season of silence, and it all stemmed really from my lack of obedience and fully submitting to the Lord. And I'll share a little background there. The last few years have kind of been challenging. Turning 40 wasn't a big deal necessarily. Like, it's not that I was ever scared of the number or scared of getting older, although my mortality has been revealed a little bit more lately. Oh, there we go again. Sorry about that. uh, this is the joy of looking at yourself, right? So, anyway, I had Skylar, my youngest, when I was 37. And about a year after that, I finally knew that I was over. I was done having kids, which I never thought I would feel that way. I thought that desire would keep on happening until I was like 55 and gone through menopause. But thankfully, my body gets a rest, and unless God intervenes in some major way, we're done. Uh, but so it was during that time that I think my body realized that it was not happening anymore and started to change, and hormones started changing, and it just doing the same things and experiencing the same things that I normally did, but I guess or doing the same things but having a different experience in them. Like, everything was the same, nothing had changed, but I felt differently about everything, and I just was really lacking motivation. I was feeling just really lonely and depressed. I call it functional depression because I feel like it's I was doing everything I had to do as a wife and as a mom, and kind of checking everything off, but it was really hard to do it. It was like pulling teeth. I mean, just really hard. And my heart wasn't in it. And slowly in the last year, just feeling off, like hormonally, and then also just off spiritually. I started reading read through the Bible in a year, and this year I actually made it past Leviticus, which is always like the big roadblock. So through kind of this spiritual sadness, I guess, I decided to wake up early every morning before the kids got up and do my reading, and somehow I still did it, and I wasn't hearing anything from God. It really was kind of just words on the page, and I wasn't getting anything from Him and from that experience. But I knew I needed to just keep moving forward, and so I did. But it was also during that time, beginning of the year, that I had kind of a breakaway from a few friendships that were really close to me that I really depended on. And it wasn't wasn't anything personal. It wasn't anything I had done or they had done. It was just for their life situation, what was going on in their lives. They couldn't have contact right then. Different things were happening in their lives, and so I had a period of just nothing. No close friendships. Just silence. Silence from my friends, silence from God. I feel like He kind of just removed everything in my life that I would normally get comfort from. And He wanted to show me that I needed my comfort from Him. And I realize that now, in the midst of it, I just, in the midst of all your struggles, you never can see the end. And it's always at the end that you realize that's what you were doing. Like, oh, I totally get it now. But when you're going through it, it's just crap. And it's just hard. And there were times when I couldn't see the end to save my life. It just felt grueling and monotonous and lonely. Really lonely. So it was one morning, I'd woken up early and I'd had my quiet time, and I just kind of couldn't take it anymore. And I asked God, just tell me what I need to do. Tell me what I need to do to get close to you again, because not only did I not sense Him near me, not only did I not have any desire or any passion or heart in my prayers or my times with Him, but I was also really starting to doubt Him. It's an amazing thing about the Lord when we go through challenging times or questions, how He holds on to us. And He never let go of me. He wouldn't let me lose my understanding of my salvation. He wouldn't let me lose my hope in Him in an eternal way. And I'm so thankful for that. But He did allow wave after wave of question and doubt and wondering if it's all real, and how can it be all real? And it seems like a fairy tale sometimes, like Jesus coming back, and what that all means. And I'm teaching my kids these things, but I'm not even sure. Like, I'm questioning it, and it was really awful. It was really awful to be in that place. And that morning, I just said, Lord, I can't do this anymore. So let me know what I need to do to get back with you. And if there's any sin in my life, if there's anything that is keeping me from you, highlight it, reveal it, make it known so that I can repent, I can bring it to you, and we can be in fellowship again. And I didn't know, there was nothing conscious that I was hiding. There was nothing that I was really aware of necessarily. So I didn't know what it was going to be. And I went on a walk with my kids that morning, my two younger ones. And I didn't want to really talk to anybody, but I had this desire to call a friend of mine back where we moved from. And she's such a dear, sweet woman and loves the Lord, and she's able to tell the truth, and she's able to tell you the truth. And the Lord just really uses her to reveal those things. And I was ready. I wanted to know. I didn't want to have this disconnect anymore. And there were a lot of tears on that walk. And it was probably about almost before I got home, and it came out. She asked me about some issue in my life that I was just really resisting. I was really resisting a place where the Lord had called me. And she said, it's really hard for the Lord to be in fellowship with you when you are acting contrary to His will, when you are not accepting His will. And it was just like, that sting of conviction. But it wasn't a mean sting. It was just this loving, just piercing of the heart. Like, I knew it. That was it. I was not submitting to where He had me. I was not fully being present where He wanted me. And so I went home and I let the kids watch their favorite show. And I went into my bedroom and I got on my knees and I gave it to Him. I gave it all to Him. And it was like immediately, he came back into my life. Immediately he welcomed me back and into fellowship. And I wasn't like thrilled about doing it. This wasn't like, yes, I get to give this to God. um, but I knew I needed to. I knew I had to. I knew there was no other choice. I can't endure this life without him. I couldn't endure another single moment without him. And I would rather go through the really hard things, because they're still really hard, and the challenges that I was facing before, they're still there. They haven't changed, but my heart has changed, and he is all over it. And he is with me, and I have allowed him to come back to me and to help navigate my life and to love on me. It was after that he just kept showing me all these other areas, big and little, in my life that I had not fully surrendered to him. And one by one, I just started to let them go and give them to him. And, I think you have to be in a place where you're ready and wanting that. And he'll do the work. He'll do the hard work in your life. I remember praying the same thing that I prayed before I was married and before I got engaged, and I was kind of at a crossroads in my life, wondering if I was going to be married or remain single. And I remember praying so wholeheartedly, Lord, I don't want to be anywhere where you aren't. I don't want to do anything in my life that is not from you, and I don't want to live this life without you. I was praying that the longings that he has for my life would be what I want, that I wouldn't want anything contrary to his will, so that I knew that when I prayed for the desires of my heart, they would be exactly what it is that he already wants for me. And at that time in my life, everything turned. And it was the same this time. And I remember praying the same thing after this happened, just, Lord, I don't want to be anywhere where you aren't. I only want to be in your presence. I only want to be inside of your will. And that's a beautiful place to be. And it doesn't take away any of the challenges. It doesn't take away any of the struggles. But the amazing things that you can learn from him by going through those things with him, they help you overcome it all. And they shine brighter and more radiant than anything that you could fabricate on your own. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the struggle. And we're in the middle of it, and we don't think of being thankful for it. But I pray that when I go through it again, that I can be thankful for the struggle. Because he grows us, and he shapes us, and he refines us, and he works to make us more like him. And that is the best place to be. That is the best thing to be. It's sanctification. It's being transformed to the likeness of Christ. And that is not an easy thing. That is some tough refining work. But if you're willing to go through it, the joy that comes out of it, of being in his presence, of being in his will, is so great. So I want to encourage you, if you're going through those hard places right now, to keep on pressing forward. And press forward with him. Don't do it by yourself. Be real with him. Be honest with him. He can handle it. He really can. He can handle the toughest questions. He can handle the harshest criticism. He's big enough for that. So lay it all out there, good and bad. Put it at the foot of the cross and trust him to handle it. Trust him to take care of it. And the passage that I always remember through tough times is in Joshua. And Joshua has the very challenging task of leading the Israelites through Egypt. And he tells Joshua, I will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous. I will never leave you or forsake you. And that is the truth. He will never leave us or forsake us. And he told him many times. He didn't just tell him once. And it was because he knew the task ahead of him was going to be really hard. And he needed him to have that confidence. So remember this today. He will never leave you or forsake you. Trust that. So until next time, I hope this just encourages you to not lose hope if you are there. And if you're not there and you're in a really great place right now, praise God. I think that's amazing. Enjoy it and be thankful to him for it. Don't forget to be thankful. And remember it. Remember your testimony. Remember what he's brought you through. When you have those really hard times that will come in our lives, remember. You know, he always told the Israelites, he said, remember where you came from. Remember. So remember where he's brought you. Don't ever forget.